Oops. Let the fantasy news flow. Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your disheveled goblin host, Daniel Greene, and today we have a wild, mysterious forest of fantasy news to explore today. What treasures lie within these woods? Let's find out together. With the first piece of news being an exceptionally exciting adaptation announcement from author N.K. Jemisin. Her very well-known and critically respected Inheritance Trilogy is going to be adopted by Searchlight TV and Westbrook Studios. Now, I looked into both of these studios, and Westbrook seems to be something that's created by Will Smith and
Jada Pinkett Smith,
which immediately gave me a bit of a feeling. No offense to the Smith family. I like Will Smith and his family is certainly creative, but they do not have the most stellar critical record as of recent. But the other studio gave me a lot more faith. Searchlight TV is responsible for some of my favorite entertainment projects of all time, including the likes of Jojo Rabbit, which was my favorite movie probably the year it came out. It was so good. So I like these studios, and I wish I could go more in depth, but as this article notes, and is important to keep in mind, this is extremely early on, so there's no directors or writers attached. It's essentially just an announcement of intention. So temper expectations. It's going to be well off, and a lot of projects don't make it, but this is one I really hope gets done and done well. Basically, N.K. Jemisin is the kind of writer where everything she pens, you're just like, oh, you're smarter than me. Got it. You're really, really good at this whole writing thing. For those of you unfamiliar with the Inheritance Trilogy, the three books that compose it are The 100,000 Kingdoms, The Broken Kingdoms, and The Kingdom of Gods, all of which are very well received by not only critics, but audiences as well. And yeah, it was recently named in Time's Top 100 Fantasy Series of all time. And while I had my disagreements with that list, I'm not going to doubt the placement of pretty much any of N.K. Jemisin's work within it. And I only feel it's fitting that I bump these up my TBR with the announcement of this adaptation. So look forward to that next news. Victoria Schwab looks to have another adaptation in the work, with City of Ghosts being adapted by ABC Signature Searchlight Television. So yeah, Searchlight's involved again. Victoria Schwab, I believe, already has an adaptation in the works for her flagship series, Colors of Magic. Notice how I said Colors of Magic and not Shades of Magic? I've been reading too much Discworld. So this is just gravy for her fans as well. And the last I heard, also there were rumors or workings for her recent Invisible Life of Addie LaRue to be adapted. So good lord, killing it. Oh my gosh, so impressive. But let's go ahead and bounce on over to some cover reveals, starting with The Desert Prince by Peter V. Brett. This looks like a gorgeous cover. I really am a fan of it, and the art is by Tommy Arnold. So not only should Tommy Arnold be very proud of his art, but I imagine Peter V. Brett is very happy to have this in his bibliography. Ooh, that's a nice looking cover. And an author I'm not entirely familiar with, but it seems quite a few of my subscribers here are with the reaction I saw to this cover. C.S. Pacat revealed her Dark Rise. And with those covers I ask, which was your favorite? Did you like The Desert Prince or Dark Rise? Which adaptation are you most looking forward to? Quickly, a word from today's sponsor. Campfire! You're needed at home. Your boy doesn't even know you. I know you're busy taking care of your community in the Discord servers, on Twitter, answering questions, creating content. So it's not just like people are buying software. They're getting involved in a process of storytelling with other creatives for a price they choose, with features they love. But what's more important? Organizing your timeline, creating fantasy languages, establishing worlds and character arcs, or getting to know your half-goblin, half-software son. Tim needs another father. I can't do it all on my own. We love you. Come on. It's been weeks. Okay, alright, I know. We already talked about some adaptations that are coming down the road, but let's talk about an adaptation that's in the middle of its filming. The Witcher. There's been some speculation on which sets they're building for season 2 are going to equal which locations from the books, and with the amount of evidence I'm seeing for this next bit of speculation, I would say it's a rather safe bet to say this is probably true. But new pictures of Witcher's massive town suggest Geralt is headed to Oxenfurt. For those of you unaware, there's been a lot of arrows pointing us to the fact that the next season of The Witcher will mostly be adapting Blood of Elves, and the three most important locations from that story include this town of Oxenfurt, where there is a legendary fight I won't get into for spoiler reasons for those who have not read the books, but this is exciting. And seeing big ambitious sets like this kind of enhances my overall theory that they're approaching season 2 with a bit more time and care. Like, honestly, my biggest criticism of season 1 was that it just didn't feel like it had the most TLC put into it, and it felt a bit rushed. So I'm hoping this is the case. Like, you know, one of the reasons the big epic fantasy shows look so good most of the time, if you look into it, is because they were given a lot of pre and post production. And I'm hoping that's now the case for season 2 of The Witcher, because again, if you look into it, season 1 was not given much pre and post production. I think that's why we had some of the weaker shots and set locations that just bugged me a bit. The acting and the writing in general did work for me for season 1, although the writing could have been using some polishing as well in my thoughts. But hey, that's just my rambles on this. But in the ultimate piece of nerd news, it seems D&D's continued rise has only been fueled by the recent pandemic. In 2020 alone, official D&D sales went up by 33%, and I am going to throw in some speculation here. Not only are we seeing the official D&D rise, but you have to understand there's a lot of alternative tabletop RPG things going on, and there's homebrew campaigns. This article does pull some interesting stuff to show D&D's become more popular, but my theory is that it's even more so underneath the official data, because online there's all kinds of free stuff put out by people or knockoffs that I've seen friends of mine use to get into tabletop RPGs and D&D stuff for the first time. So this whole genre of gaming, I truly believe, is going to continue to just excel and rise. So many people I know who growing up would have never tried D&D have made it a weekly part of their quarantine life, where they get on Zoom with friends and start having some fun. And with the greater accessibility through the online websites that are now facilitating D&D campaigns, allowing people to have group sessions that are digitally enhanced, this is just badass. And we're also seeing D&D movies and video games in production. I hope they're out soon enough to take advantage of this wave, and I hope they're of quality and not just something that's trying to capitalize on this. But hey, this is exciting. Okay, for me, in my opinion, if you're gonna make a D&D movie, make it kind of tongue-in-cheek or extremely tongue-in-cheek. I saw someone recently, on a thread talking about how, oh, they should have an actor die, an actor's character die, and the next scene, you meet a new character played by the same actor, it's reintroducing a member of the party, because when someone dies, you just give a new character. That would be great. I think that's genuinely hilarious, and I'd love that kind of stuff. But hey, maybe people are kind of tired of the Deadpool approach. I don't want it to be full on Deadpool, but you get what I'm saying. I think a lot of people are going to have strong opinions on the handling of the D&D franchise, and I know some people don't love to see its popularity take off. They wished it was more this niche thing again, but I just think, psychologically, genuinely, D&D's a healthy thing. It's something where you just get along, socialize with your friends. I love it, so I enjoy seeing more people get involved. And for my Warhammer fans, 1, I will be getting to my first Warhammer review sooner than you might think. And 2, you've had a slew of new pieces of media to enjoy. Some animations and fun stuff like that, but my personal favorite from everything I saw was this interesting little trailer dropped called Exodite. There is some really neat world building going on, and it's definitely got me tantalized to get deeper into this world. My biggest fear getting into the Warhammer franchise is that it's going to be very messy in its world building, because of how many spoons have been in this pot. But I'd like to be proven wrong, of course. I mean, there just seems to be many moving parts, but I'm optimistic as always. We also had Tom Budge leaving the Lord of the Rings series. He took to Instagram to say, "It is with great sadness that I am writing to tell you I have departed Amazon's Lord of the Rings television series. After recently seeing the first episode shot over the last year, Amazon has decided to go in another direction with the character I was portraying. I must thank the creative team for their encouragement towards trying something that I believed was new, exciting, and beautiful." I really hate to see this. There's been some definite shakeups with the Lord of the Rings show since its original announcement, and this just seems to be another bump in the road for them. I hope the actor is able to find good new work, and this is just a bummer. There's no good silver linings about this. It just sucks to see people leave a show. But okay, we mentioned Endgame. Let's go ahead and segue in the fact that we had another much larger trailer dropped for Zack Snyder's Justice League, which will be released this Thursday. I'll probably try and do a review here on the channel, though I'm sure YouTube will be just avalanche flooded with them. I'll have my thoughts though, and I'm cautiously optimistic that this will be more different than I thought it was going to be. Definitely showed a lot that wow, okay, this is going whole new plot lines, directions. I'm hopeful. I want this to be good. I always want things to be good. I just don't always love Zack Snyder's direction. What's wrong with me? But brace yourselves. What we've all been waiting for so long is finally here. But in the opposite of that, something I don't think many people were biting at the jib for, or whatever the expression is, we also had a trailer drop for The Irregulars, which seems to be a fantasy-inspired, centered around Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, alternative superpowered kids thing coming to Netflix. I was extremely hesitant going into watching this trailer because Sherlock Holmes is a franchise and character I really care a lot about. But what was shown here made me go, okay. Like, they have this, like, they're clearly going in bold directions and gonna have some graphic content, so neat. Not that that's necessarily needed, but it shows me they're not pulling punches in some ways. I just, I don't know. I'll watch it, because it's Sherlock Holmes, and I'll watch anything with Sherlock Holmes. I'm just not 100% sold on their handling of it, but I liked the acting I saw. I didn't necessarily love the direction, so I don't know. It's a trailer, not a lot to go off of. But that's the last piece of fantasy news we're covering here today. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Join the Discord server if you'd like to go ahead and post news you'd like to see covered here on the channel anytime. And I love y'all. Have a good one. Pre-order my book, Breach of Peace. It's available in the link in the description. Okay, bye! And of course, I'd like to record a special shout out to my latest high-tier Patreons, Jacob, Kikura, Deck, Blair, and Little Goblin.